Yes, good afternoon. Welcome once again to another edition of Premier League Overtime. We're here once again this week to chat all about the Premier League that has been and gone this weekend, and of course coming up in a week's time. Now you may notice there is a missing seat or a missing figure here on the desk, which is quite noticeable, and of course Doug, who's generally here with us, isn't this week. He's filled up with plenty of work, so hopefully he's watching and tuning in this week. So shout out to you, mate, and hopefully you get through the week unscathed. But of course I'm joined with a very special guest. The guests don't stop here on the show, and we bring a very lovely lady and a fantastic basketballer from the South Adelaide Panthers. I am, of course, speaking of Madeline Cunningham. Thanks to have you on the show here.
Thanks
for coming in.
Yeah. Good to be here. Thank you.
It's very nice to have you, and we'll get through some of the results first up before we chat to any more about your basketballing at the moment, because round 13 is been passed, and we're going to take a look at some of these results here. The Panthers men stepped up to produce their third win for the season against the Rockets up at Hillcrest. The women weren't quite strong enough though. The Bearcats continuing to fly under the radar, both their men and women grabbing a couple of important scalps on the weekend against Sturt. The Warriors smoking the Lions on home court in both games, as did the Southern Tigers visiting the Mavs on Sunday arvo. And then first up, I guess we better look at these two blockbuster games which happened up at Mars Stadium on Saturday night. The Eagles and Flames went head to head, and I guess this game, to start off with the men's, was quite a big one, very close all the way through, but it was a big three-pointer from Brad Hayden with 3 seconds to go that separated the teams in the end. Forestville getting up by 1 point, 78-79. A huge performance in the end. The Eagles led for majority of the match, but some really good scoring runs from the Flames kept them in it at the time, and just a really great match. Even on the stat sheet, it was very even. You couldn't really pick them apart. Jake Rios, Trent Files, 20 points each, and Matty Lysett taking the lead role there for the Flames, 19 points as well. But we'll just quickly cross on over to the women's game as well while we're up there at Mars. And a very good Norwood Flames up there on Saturday remain with just the one loss in the loss column. The Eagles 15-point losers, unfortunately, that night, and the space between first spot and second and third now is getting a little bit bigger with that win. Of course, it was top of the table. Now the Eagles dropped to third. Steph Talbot, sensational from her, double-double, 16 points and 10. Taylor Orplip, of course, was also terrific. She had 13. Maddie, I'll quickly ask you this while we're on the women's side of things. The Flames, I guess it's been like this for quite a while, but Norwood, they're just a very tough team to beat. I guess there's no other really way of putting it. The fact that they are just one of the teams that you sort of rock up against and you go, with many question marks, how do we beat this team?
That's it. They have a lot of talent, that's for sure. It's a very tough side to beat, and it is very daunting facing them, to be honest. But you got to do it every season. I reckon they're tipped to win this season, I reckon.
Again?
Yeah, I reckon.
Well, it'll be very big indeed if they can get onto a back-to-back championship.
Yeah.
But hey, we better have a look at your Panthers, of course. The men first before we roll into the women's, and a 4-point win for the Panthers. Very, very big indeed. That ends a 3-game losing streak. They got up 78-82, and Adrian Coleman, as I just go through my notes there, 26 points, 10 boards for the Panthers. Hadn't heard a lot about him until this game. A big step up and came out of the woodwork, I guess. Another one who did, Cameron Simmons, 24 points for North. He was very good, but of course not enough. Miles and Gardner had a strong influence as well on the game, scoring double digits. Don't know if you got much of that game before you went out.
It's good to see Cameron Miles back. He's been out for quite a while with a broken foot, so he's shown some real good form in his second week back, I think. So it's really good to see him. But yeah, the men are struggling a bit as well, I think. Same with us, but they're showing a lot of promise. I reckon in the North game we were up there, and it was a little bit disappointing to see that loss, but.
There, you can't help much though. But then it's a tough season when I guess I'm not quite sure what the movements were in terms of players in the off season. But the men's side of things, they're struggling. So are you guys, but they are getting some wins on the board and staying competitive, which is a good sign.
Yeah, they're definitely competitive, and that's what you can ask for, I guess.
Exactly. Well, we'll have a look at your game, and I guess very tough to stop a player like Jo Hill. She was on fire, and back to her vintage best, I guess you could say. 24 points. 10 boards and another 5 assists as well, just to add to the list, assisting her Rockets on her way to a very fine win 83-66, a bit of a margin in the end. I guess it was a little bit closer throughout, but they did win every quarter with about 20 points per quarter, and just made it a cruisy way to the end. Even Nodge was very, very good. Great for you girls, 25 points, 10 boards. Jess Nolan was also very good with a double-double, but I guess your group just didn't quite have enough to keep up.
No, as you said, Jo Hill, pretty much unstoppable. I don't know how many years she's going to keep going, but she could keep going for 5 more years, I reckon. But nah, North are another quality side. Always a good battle with them. We feel like we're competitive with them. They were just too good last week.
And I guess yourself, you didn't have a great game. It was a bit quiet, but,
yeah.
Did you put that down to anything?
Yeah, I didn't have a great shooting night, to be honest. Can't blame anything on that. But, yeah, I haven't had the best season personally. But I just try every week, try my best, try and focus on my defence when my shooting's not up to standard. But, yeah.
It's a tough season to try and grind through. You girls, of course, a tough year. Currently 1-12. It's not pretty to look at. 9th. After reaching a prelim last year, I guess, that's the big turning point. How difficult has it been for this group to sort of come to the realisation that, that's the difference right now?
Yeah, it's been a tough season, as you said. Like the start of the season, we've lost some big players we weren't expecting to lose, I guess. But we come out to training, we try hard, we do everything Vic asked us to. Well, we try to at least. She probably says differently, and it's a good bunch of girls. We're having fun as we're doing it. We work together, we try and work for each other, and unfortunately we're just not having the best season. But we're still, as I said, we're still enjoying it, but it's not the prettiest season.
Molly McKendrick, Ashley Spencer, Jess Marnie, just 3 names there that are huge losses to the team over the off-season. Do you think their departures have hit your team a little harder than you would have expected at first?
Not as expected. Well, obviously we weren't expecting to lose 2 of those players. But there's not much more we can do. I guess they've moved on to bigger and better things, and that's fine. Ashley Spencer playing C-ball now, which is really great for her. She's doing really well over there. So, yeah, we just got to keep pushing through, and hopefully next season we'll get maybe some of them back.
You're averaging 10 points a game. That's not too bad. You're enjoying that. About 30% shooting-wise. Have you been pleased with your own season so far personally?
It's not as good as I would have hoped, to be honest. I think last season I had a better season, and probably the season before even better. But things change, life changes, work comes into play. But as I said, I'm trying my hardest, trying to focus on my defence more than shooting this season, as it hasn't been the best for me. But what can you do? It's been a tough season.
So let's just talk about your pathway now and get on to some brighter sort of stories here, because I guess basketball always starts from a young age, you would have thought. You've had a very interesting journey yourself. Tell me where you've been, where you started, what clubs you were at, whatnot.
So I started at South as a young kid. I played my first ABA game, it was called back then, I guess, about 15 years old, I reckon, quite young. And then straight out of high school, I went to America, got an opportunity to play college. I went to Missouri with Ashley Spencer, actually, for 2 years. And then I got the opportunity to transfer to Hawaii, and that was with Eva Nodge, who's in my team now. So I've been with these girls for a long time. And then in the middle of all that, I was with Southern for a little bit, I think. And then I came back to South, and loving it at South now, loving the team, loving the coaches, and
Over that whole journey, I'm sure there was, a particular player or a set of players that you, I guess, would have learnt alongside or, had influenced your game a bit. Is there any 1 or 2 players in particular you would have thought that maybe has had that effect?
Jess Marnie, definitely. 2 years playing with her. She's a phenomenal point guard. I love playing with her. She feeds the ball brilliantly. I think that's where I got most of my shots last season, to be honest. Lots of my points from her. It's been great to play with Eva for a lot of years too, over in America, and here we kind of feed off each other. If she's I get excited when she's shooting good, she gets excited when I'm shooting good, and if I'm not having a good game, it's great to see her performing as she has been in the past 2 weeks.
So of course, America. I mean, how can we not ask about this? Something that every kid sort of dreams of, I guess. What was the experience like over there? Yeah,
it was really good. So Missouri was a NAIA college. It was fun. It's like a really country kind of bumpkin kind of city I was in, and Hawaii obviously was beautiful. Came home a little bit early, just missing home and whatnot, but dreamt of it since I was a little kid, and it was a really great experience. We learnt a lot, matured a lot, and
Of course, those players, with you over there and now here at South, do you still reminisce on those sort of, memories?
Yeah, me and Eva have some great chats about the crazy coaches we experienced over there. Same with Splash, Ashley Spencer. So yeah, it's been great to kind of grow up with those girls, and we're still playing together now, great friends, so yeah.
Perfect segue, because I wanted to talk about some coaches. I'm sure you've had plenty in your time. Have there been any that have really optimised your skills or let you play a particular game that you've really enjoyed?
Body Nodge, probably, Eva's dad. He's our assistant this season. He kind of encouraged me to go to America in the first place, sent me a lot of emails and whatnot while I was over there, encouraging me, and I kind of followed him to Southern and then back to South. He's been, quite an inspiration to me over my career. Vicky right now has been great. I got back from America quite disheartened, and I kind of was sick of basketball when I came back, and Vicky, she's really made me love basketball again, and I have kind of free reign. I can do what I want. America was so strict in what I had to do. And I'm really enjoying playing under Vicky for so many years now. So
Vicky, of course, your current coach, has been around for a while.
She has.
Have you enjoyed her passionate style of coaching? She really does love the game.
Oh, she loves it. She's very, very passionate. She was a great player. I used to idolise her, going to ABA games, watching her. She's amazing, and great coach. Very, very passionate, and hopefully she stays on for a little bit longer. She's been there for quite a while now, and I think she suits the club.
You would hope now, 8 rounds left. You guys have got it's quite a tough season to sort of look at now. It's essentially a bit of a dead rubber, I guess you could say, with the record that you've got. How do you go about the next 8 games? And is there still a passion to want to go out and win every game? Oh,
definitely. We're a very competitive team. We always go out there to win, no matter if it's the top team or the bottom team. We go out to training every week, wanting to get better. And that's all I can say, I guess. Just striving to be better every game, every training, making each other better, and hopefully next season,
Only up and up, hopefully.
That's it,
that's the plan. Well, let's take a quick look at the ladders and how they stand at the moment. Of course, the women's after round 13, Norwood still sitting on top, as I guess you'd expect. 12 games, 12 wins there, 1 loss, and North and Forestville there, 10-3 underneath. It comes after the Eagles lost to the Flames and have allowed themselves a bit of a drop down, and North slide up. So they're both even on 10-3. Southern and West still lurk with a very good record at 4-5. And just taking a little look at the gap between 7th and 8th, it's quite a solid wall now between Woodville and East. I think they're 6 and 7 and they're 2 and 11. So it's going to be very hard to get back out of that. A little gap there for East, but nonetheless, that's how the women stand at the moment. And we look at the men's, Norwood now dropping to 3rd, and the Warriors deserving of a 2nd spot after a big percentage boosting win against Centrals. That's how it looks at the moment. Forestville also jumped to 4th from the 5 spot, level with Sturt with 8 wins and 5 losses. And while we're at it, we might as well take a look at the fixtures that are coming up for the weekend coming. And I'll tell you what, there's some huge games coming up with this list here. North and Norwood to kick-start. That's massive. Austral Sports will be down there for your game, Maddie, against West, and we'll be tracking your games for the next 2 weeks, in fact. Down to Southern as well. So a bit of airtime for the club. Sturt take on Woodville as well. That's going to be huge. Centrals and Eastern, a very tight contest there. Look out for that up at Starplex. And as well, Forestville and Southern. That's a cracker as well. Tell you what, there are big games coming up. Yours against West. I'm very intrigued. How do you go about this one?
We are always very competitive against West. Always really, really good games. I think we came quite close to them. I can't remember what the score was last time we played West, but it's always a really good game, and we always really enjoy playing them. It's quite physical and quite tough, but it's good fun. Hopefully we'll come out with a win this week.
They're doing very, very good. I mean, they're just flying under the radar a lot, and I mean, winning against teams you wouldn't expect. So, I mean, this is going to be a great challenge.
They have some very under-the-radar players too. Norwood have some real stars, but Bearcats not so much, but very, very quality players still at the same time. And yeah, it'll be a tough game, but hopefully, I'm hoping we'll stay competitive.
Well, you'll be on the spotlight under the Austral cameras on the weekend, so we look forward to seeing you down there on Saturday. Thank you for joining us on the show.
No worries, thanks for having me.
It's been great to have you here, of course, and great to have your company as well. We'll be back next week with another edition of Premier League Overtime. Thanks for tuning in, and from all of us here at Austral Sports and the Team Basketball SA, we'll catch you next week.